Now, the last eThekwini Council meeting for the year has been postponed to next week Tuesday after a commotion broke out in chambers. Reports have been circulating that the ANC in the region want Deputy Mayor Philani Mavundla out. The Abantu Batu Congress leader has vowed that he will not go down without a fight. Mr. Mavundla joins us live now just to give us his take on what is unfolding. Mr. Mavundla, good morning and thank you very much for your time. You know, there are two very significant events. There are calls for the mayor to step down following yesterday's council sitting that collapsed, and then there's the imminent call for you to be removed. Let's start with just confirming the delays to the start of council yesterday. Was it due to some sort of a back and forth between you and the mayor?
Good morning to you as well as the listeners. Yesterday, there was an exco meeting that started in the morning at 7:30. That exco took place because there was some unfinished business from the exco that was held on Tuesday this week. Unfortunately, the deliberation at the exco level took longer than anticipated, which then it went over into the time that was a time for the council, which the council was supposed to have been sitting from 10 o'clock. Now, in terms of our standing rules, if the meeting don't take place way beyond 15 minutes, the speaker needs to extend that. But that did not happen because when that was supposed to be happening, obviously the ANC was still engaged in their own caucus, trying to discuss my removal as well as Councillor Tantitolo Sabelo, who happened to be an exco member as well. So yes, indeed, the council, when the council was about to take place, it was already time barred, which means we couldn't be carrying on because it was set for 10 o'clock. So that is where the first problem started. And then the meeting couldn't go ahead. So that was the reason why the meeting couldn't go ahead. But on top of that, and then the EFF started really raising their concern about the many issues, which are the issues that all the Debenites are concerned about. So those are the first things that happened. During the time when the meeting couldn't start, there was a meeting that was held by myself, the whip of council, which happened also to be the acting chairperson of the eThekwini region, as well as the deputy chair in terms of how he was appointed, as well as the secretary of the eThekwini region. And in our engagement, it was the first time that I was officially being told that the ANC now intend having their exco seats back. That meant if then the ANC say now they want their exco seat, which was sponsored to APC, it meant then I will no longer be the exco member by implication. I will no longer be the deputy mayor of eThekwini. And furthermore, I will no longer be the chairperson of the Human Settlement and Infrastructure Committee. Now, in that meeting, I made it clear that, yes.
Now, that particular request by the ANC would mean, according to you, at least the statement that you released, that they would be in breach of the coalition agreement that you entered into.
Well, because the people I was talking to, they were nowhere last year when we entered this agreement, and it is very clear that the leadership of the province did not pass the terms of our reference as to what was agreed on. Now, if they feel that they've got new friends that has got more useful lifespan, will bring that in and remove me. I had to explain that to them, that in actual fact, it should end in 2026. Therefore, I cannot be removed by them. But nevertheless, the discussion was between APC and the provincial staff. They have no say in mayors and kids.
The provincial structure that negotiated that agreement, would it have been the provincial secretary then at the time? That would have been Mdumseni Ntuli, and then the chair would have been Sihle Zikalala. Was there anybody else that currently is on the executive or the PC that would have been part of those negotiations? Because I understand that in your letter you stated that Swoniso Duma is quite familiar with the agreement that was signed.
not only Siboniso Duma. Siboniso Duma was part of this deliberation, who happened to be the #1 man, because Comrade Duma is a chairperson now. But there was also Comrade Somuga, the MEC of Transport. Remember, he was a deputy secretary at the time. So basically forms that the current premier was a treasury. So he forms part that. And also there's a lot of officials that did form part of this. Adu Comrade Mtumseni Ntuli himself is still a member of the provincial executive committee. Maybe it's important that we make the South African people to understand what brought us here. There's a document which is about 300 pages that are given to the ANC that explain the problems that I have encountered and the challenges since November last year. It's very much detailed. It's got proof, it's got backup evidence and everything that tells them the problems that need to be resolved in the coalition. Now, instead of dealing with that, I think they opted that the one way out is to push Mavundla. Unfortunately, that is happening when the city is not doing well, and the city has not been doing well for many, many years. I have to tell the South African that this, as early as March 26, I prepared the first dossier that I presented to the ANC leadership in the province at the time, as well as the daily leadership in the council, which was specifically talking about the status of the infrastructure when it comes to water as well as sanitation. And back in March, when I handed that report, I told them that out of 27 wastewater plants, 24 of them had no license, 17 were completely run to total failure. 2 weeks after I handed over that document, I took it to the president of the country. I gave him exactly the same thing. I've got proof of sending this as well as the Minister of Water and Sanitation. So when the floods came in April, it came into a situation that was already dire. It made it worse. But the leadership in eThekwini in the province were fully aware of this. I have a tendency of giving them monthly report of what is taking place in our infrastructure. This has always been ignored, including the fact that the money that we demanded from the national, the president promised us, but that money never ever came. Until this day, we still got people sitting in mass halls. Because we have not.
That was something you were quite vocal of. You were quite vocal on the fact that government, national government, had not actually produced the money that they said they would be giving to eThekwini. But beyond this, how is your relationship with the mayor currently? Because one would think there would have been reasons that they furnished at that meeting where they told you that they want their EXCO seat back.
I think the country needs to know, although it's not too important here, but I must say this because this will make one to understand the kind of man I am. I'm a polygamist, so I'm used to conflict even at home. So basically, I don't normally worry about how people perceive me. If I'm given a job, I'll go and do the job. The problem that I see that is that the class I'm controlling, they've soon realized that it controls 75% of money of the budget of eThekwini. And it's not the ANC that is controlling that. So it makes their life very difficult that whatever that they wish to happen with their friends, it cannot happen because it needs to pass via Mavundla. And Mavundla is a man that everybody knows what kind of a man I am. Things aren't going to happen easy. We still got ponds full of sewer as we speak today. I'm aware that we've gone out and told the people that the beaches are open. But the truth of the matter, there's still more sewer laying everywhere in every river that we have around here. And the repair is slow because we don't have enough money. But truth be told, the vandalism that is taking place as well is also not making our life easy. But as a council, we haven't put enough money that we need.
But even though finances are an issue, there is another issue now where you had the chief procurement officer there not signing off on a number of these particular projects that had to get underway. What do you make of that? That beyond the issue of money, there's also an administrative problem somewhere.
Well, part of the dossier that I've handed to the ANC, which makes me to be unpopular, is the fact that in a tender that will take up to 3 years without being awarded. And the question will be, was there no necessity to go to tender in the first place? In eThekwini, I think on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis, we are slapped with court orders demanding us to pay. The biggest that I've seen was that we're being demanded to pay 30 million. And it's a court case that we never even defended. Not long ago, 3 days ago, another order was issued simply because the contractor that tendered was not given the tender, and the reason that was given to that particular contractor was not making any sense. And the contractor took it to court, and then it was left with the court order. So we're living in a city of chaos. The administration do as they want because they are protected by us politicians. You cannot fire any of them because they are protected. It's the entire cadre development that got the city where it is. And it's been a very tough 12 months for me.
So then, in your letter, though, you say that you want to fight to remain in the coalition. You love the ANC. You have served it for so many years before forming ABC. But if you say so much, shouldn't you be then in the opposition benches with the rest of them, like the EFF, who are calling for the mayor to step down and for the ANC government to be removed?
Let me make this clear to all the South Africans so they understand how the ANC works. I've been there for many years. The reason eThekwini has not been given by the national government the 17 billion rand that they promised us is simply because the faction that is running eThekwini and KZN, the national leadership are not too sure if they're on their side. Therefore, they wouldn't give us the money to do anything. Now, let's say Mavundla goes and sits on the opposition benches. It's not going to help the people of eThekwini in any way, because the more noise we make on the opposition benches, the worse the situation is going to get. Let me just give you 2 things so that you understand. There's something that was called Manasseh reports. Nobody can tell you who got arrested, who got fired. Nobody. Nothing was done. The ANC sat on it and nobody did anything about it. Even the opposition parties that were there, they can make all the noise today. They also did absolute nothing. There was another one, the Nexus report, that was talking about people who get paid overtime of the hours then exist in a month. If the man had so many hours, they'll have doubled the hours, which means they work the day and the night and the hours that you don't know. Another day that you don't know where it came from. But they got paid. Then Nexus report, nothing was done about. Now, it's the first time in their life that they have a mayor who have a tendency of producing monthly reports that tells them where I've been, what has happened, what is outstanding.
So where to from here for you? Because your lawyers have written a letter. Apologies for interjecting there, Mr. Mavundla, but where to from here?
The answer to that is that I am not going anywhere. The only place I'm honestly going to court to challenge this. I want the court to declare that there's an agreement between myself and the ANC, and that agreement needs to be respected until 2024. I need to respect it. They need to respect it. That is illegal. We need to respect it by doing correct thing. And the people of eThekwini have accepted that there's a APC, the other smaller parties, and the ANC, and that needs to be protected. The eThekwini coalition is not going to be the coalition like other metros. I will allow it.